Okay, so we have made our spine and cover and back cover of our little Lapbook box. And just from this little piece here that we have, we can see all the potential that just this has. We can make a mini album out of this. We can make a junk journal out of this. This could be your cover for your junk journal. You'll just need to put those little holes, do little holes here, and thread your signatures through this. You can make a whole bunch of Lapbook out of just this. Okay, so there's a lot of potential just in this little piece that we just made. So this could be a tutorial for many things, but we are making that Lapbook box, so let's continue with that. So right now we will be doing the flaps first, which is this part here, okay. That is what I will be doing. So now I have scrapbook pieces of paper that I will have chosen already just to be on this side. So what we need to do is, first, how much space should I use for these parts here? Okay, you see there's like a little spine on each flap. Okay, this one has a spine and this one has a spine. All right. For this Lapbook, I will be using equally sized spines. This one they were unequal because on this side it was to be the raw material, which is just papers and loose little things and not much volume. And because this would be the decorated part, it would have a little bit more volume. That's why I used two different spines. But this I will be using it as just raw materials, so they will have equal spines. Now my spine has 5 centimeters, so this is how we will be working it out. 5 centimeter spine. So we will be dividing it into 2. So each of these spines, okay, on these edges will have 2.5, or can have 2.5 centimeters. I'm working with centimeters, all right? Let's see in inches. So 2 inches. 2 inches. All right, let's do the inches part here. So we have 2-inch spine. That means we can have a 1-inch spine on either side. Okay, easy peasy. That was easy. All right. So, excuse me. That means that when I do this spine over here, I will have 2.5 centimeters, or I can use 2.5 centimeters. I will be using 2.4, just a little bit lower than the 2.5, because you know when we do the score lines and we bend them, it might just add a few, but it's all right. If it does open up a bit, mine isn't that open, it's closing a bit. You can see that this is not as wide as this. Okay, so if it does open, it's quite all right. Okay, so let's do the 2.5. Make it simple for you guys. Okay, so what do we need to do? I need to make a flap to glue onto this side here, and I like to make a 2 centimeter flap or a 1-inch flap. It's a little bit lower than 1 inch. I think 1 inch is too much. So 2 centimeters. And what I do like to do, because it's scrapbooking paper, I like to punch first. So that means I will need about 3 centimeters. Okay, because I will be punching some of that out, and it will look good. And you can make as long as you want. The punch as big as you want, however big your punch is. This is a small punch, so but at least space that is glued onto this, at least 2 centimeters. All right, or that's 2 centimeters at about, oh boy, 1.5. That is, hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6/8 of an inch. I think I have the hang of this inch stuff. So what we'll be measuring first is the part that's going to stick down. Okay, I will use the 3 centimeters because I'm using a punch. If you're not using a punch, you can just do 2 centimeters. So 3 centimeters. Your spine, okay, which is 2.5, so plus 2.5. And then this size here, slightly smaller. So we will be measuring from right up to the edge and not until the edge of your chipboard. You'll need to be about 0.5 centimeter away from your chipboard. Inches, that will be about 2/16 of an inch away from this edge of the chipboard. So let's measure that. I'm on the edge of this one here, which is where my spine will be. And I will go all the way in, not to the edge of my chipboard. Okay, let me see if I can put this a little bit higher for you. So my mark here, that was, okay, you see that little mark there, my pencil line there? Okay, that's where I measured the spine, the 2.5 centimeter spine. And it's all going to be one piece. So that's where my score lines are going to be. Okay, I'm not going to cut this, but it'll end there. So that's my last little measurement there on the edge of this chipboard here. Okay, this one here, and it'll go all the way, not to the edge of this chipboard here, but like 0.5 centimeter inside. And 0.5 centimeters was how many? 2/8 of an inch, something like that. I'm just going to eyeball it. All right, so that I'll be cutting. That's my excess. Okay, so just cut that. And I will be doing the same on this side. So that was 3 centimeters. So let's just go 3 plus 2.5 plus something else. I can't remember. Anyway, so let's just do the 3 centimeters. I have direction. Do not have direction. That's quite all right. So 3 centimeters plus 2.5. 1, 2.5. And then that will be measured. Oh, I don't have enough. Oh, do not have enough. Oh, bugger. Can't use this one. Oh well, get another one. That's quite alright. Use it like this. Let me see if I have enough here. And that's quite pretty. Wonder if I'll be able to use that. So that will be like that. Okay, so 3 centimeters plus 2.5, 1, 2.5, and then let's measure that. So 0.5 centimeter that way and all the way to the edge, so that way. And oh, the height ways is the height of your whole book. So this is just cut. Forgot to tell you that. I cut this exactly the same height. All right, and I will be cutting them the same. So I'll be using this one as a measure. Okay, so here are my pieces. Right, so now where I have my little let me really put that on there so you can see. So that's where this is the part where I'll be cutting with my little punch thingy. That will be the spine, and then of course that will be the whole flap. All right, so these two are not to be cut, they are to be scored. But before I score, I will be just using the punch. And I'll be doing the same thing on both of them. Okay, use the same punch, use different punches, it's all up to you. And I will just be punching these quickly. Alright. So I have punched out my paper. That looks pretty. That'll look pretty. And now I will score. Now if you do not have a scoreboard or score pal thingy, use a ruler. What you do is you measure the same down here. So you have one marking here and one marking here. You just put your ruler down and then you slide your hand in and you start up and down and until you do the crease. Okay, you can do that with a ruler if you do not have a little thing like that. And because I have my markings, I don't need to measure again on the scoreboard. So I just do it on my markings. That's those ones. My scores are done. My score lines. Okay, now I just need to that way. Now, if you want to use double-sided paper, that would be great. I don't have double-sided paper for this. I didn't choose double-sided paper. So what will happen is, I prefer to use the patterned paper on this side, so that my punch line is over here. Okay, so it wouldn't be white, that would look not nice. And that would be just easier for me to just, on this side, put a nice piece of scrapbook paper on this side. And if I want, I can also do something on the spine, since it is a little bit bigger. Then that one over there, then this one over here. Okay, so that will be just easier. Okay, that's how it's going to look. And then this one will come here on this side. And that's how that one's going to look. Scrapbook paper here on top of that. Okay, so now we can glue this down. And what we will glue is just this part here. Okay, this part here. So you can do, what's this thing called? I forget these names. Oh, a double-sided tape. That's right. Just write these things down so that I don't mumble when I'm doing the video. But anyway, so double-sided tape. Just to give a little bit more strength, I will be using both of them. Don't know why I don't trust double-sided tape too much. I did a lot, but then I started noticing that with time, because the glue is always active on double-sided tape, it does tend to weaken. I don't know how to explain that, but anyway, I use both. There we go. The more the merrier. Okay, do not forget to, with a bone folder or with back hair scissors or the back hair fingernail, just varnish it like this. Just pressing it down. Let's try not to bend your paper or destroy your punch design. Whoops, I just destroyed one. Never mind. Well, there is a technique that you actually do destroy these little things, isn't there? Make it look more rugged and roughed. Okay, so take that out. Put some tacky glue. The only downside that I have about this thing, double-sided sticky tape, is that for people who are new to this, when it's stuck down, it's stuck down. Don't try to move it. You're going to rip it. And that's why I always suggest the liquid glue for those who are just starting out, because it's always you can always maneuver around if you stick it too high, stick it too low. Okay, so now this is a tricky part. You will have to stick this right on the edge. Okay? And you put the paper however you are more comfortable with. You can actually fold this better so you can see what the edge, where the edge is. Alright, and you just stick it down, stick the top and then go all the way down, or stick bottom, or stick the side, however you're comfortable with. What is important is that it's all aligned like that. Okay, and of course as well on this side, but anyway, let me just open that and press it down. Look how cute that looks. That doesn't look bad. Okay, so we have one spine here. Let's glue the other one down. And again, edge it right on the edges here. We'll line it up right on the edge there. And I find that if I put the tacky glue on the double-sided tape, it still lets me maneuver it a little bit. Okay, so we have our, look at that. Oh, okay, so we have our flaps done. I will be putting scrapbook paper on these in the end. Won't be fussing about those right now. That's the easy part. Everyone knows how to do that. Let's go to the pockets. So now we can have a pocket on this side and we can have a pocket on this side, right? If you want, you can have one big pocket in here. Okay, can you see that? One big pocket over here that can have a 2.5, almost a 2.5 centimeter thickness or deepness, right? Or not deepness, but thickness. height of the box. What do I mean by the height of the box? Okay, you see my box here? It has about 1 centimeter height, so not much will go in. This one here is about 2 centimeters, 1 centimeter and a half. Okay, so because this was for the decorative paper, so it'll have more embellishments, more volume. So and then I have one here. So what you must do is your spine on this side has to be. Imagine if your spine is with a measurement, these two, the sum of these two cannot go over this measurement over here. So if this is 2 centimeters, this has to be 1 and this has to be 1. So 1 plus 1 is 2. Okay, it can't be 2 plus 1 makes 3 because you don't have 3 centimeters over here. Okay, does that make sense? So, unless you wanted to do the 2, okay, I have the 2 centimeters here. Unless you wanted to do just one box, and that box here could have 2 centimeters, but then you couldn't have anything on this side. It would just be the flap that closed. Okay, so this is all depends on what you need and what you want to do. All right, so that's why I'm saying if you want just one box here and nothing over here, this box can have the 2.5 centimeters because I have the 2.5 centimeters here. Okay, on my spine. If I wanted to do 2 boxes, okay, that would need to, okay, I have the spine of my 2.5 centimeters. Can you see that 2.5 centimeter spine? That would have to be divided in 2. One box, one box, one box. So that would be, and I always like to leave a little margin. So it's 1.3 plus 1.3. Okay, so my boxes here would have a 1.3 height. All right, and of course you could always do some small 1 centimeter boxes just to make it simpler, but do the measurements to make your life simpler, as long as the boxes that you put on either side or one side are not taller or larger than your spine on this side. Okay, very, very important, or it won't close. Okay, so let's do some boxes, and I will be using scrapbook paper for these boxes, and I have one here, and another one here, and one here, and I think I can still use these ones. Okay, 4 boxes, that's all I need. Hope you can still hear me because I just sat down. Okay, now how do I measure my boxes? It all depends on what you need. What do you need your boxes for? I'll show you on this one. I needed this box for my old book paper. So I went in, I got my old book paper and I set it down and I saw, okay, my box needs to be slightly bigger, like on either side than my book paper. If my book paper was 10 centimeters, I would put 0.5 centimeter on each side, and that was the size of my box. All right. So if my tags, for example, the tags are, I think in centimeters, 16 by 8. So 16 tall and 8 wide. So if this was my tag box, it should have about 9 centimeters, just to give it a little bit of, wiggly movement inside. Yeah, that's right, 8.5. Okay, so 8.5 centimeters. I get a small little wiggly space. So this is just, and I just put that there. I didn't even measure that one. So you see how I measured. Imagine you wanted to put some post-it notes in here. So what you would do, you would measure your post-it notes. Okay, this one's 7.5. So I would just put another half on each side, or another quarter, at least another quarter on each side, so that you can wiggle it inside. It has to wiggle inside, all right? It can't be snug, so whilst you're not going to be able to fit half of the things in there, and it's going to be very hard to put in and very hard to take out. So that's what I did for these measurements. I measured it for the things I was going to put inside my boxes. If you don't want to measure and you just want to do any old box and then shove in there whatever fits, that can also be done. Let me just close this one. So let me work on this one here. And that's what I'm going to do for this one. I'm just going to put a box, and whatever fits, fits. What doesn't fit, well, stay out of it. So where's my pencil? Here's my pencil. So I have my piece of paper. Let's work with this one. Big enough? Should be big enough. Maybe not. Let's do this one here. Okay, so I have this score line and the edge of my chipboard. That's what we will be, what will be, that's our space, our area. Okay, so from that first score line, let me just hide. We have our spine here has two score lines. Okay, the one to the left and the one to the right. The one to the left we will not be looking at. The one to the right, I will actually just ignore this page and help you ignore it as well by putting a white piece of paper here. So this is our area. Let's do that. This is my area. Okay, so it's from that score line right on our page to the edge of our chipboard, and it measures 15 centimeters. Okay, so what I like doing is I don't like putting my box right on top of the edge of the things. I leave about 1 centimeter, minimum half centimeter. I think half a centimeter is still too little, and then in inches would be 1/4 of an inch. I think 1/4 of an inch is still too little. Okay, so let's make it about what is that line? It's 3/16 of an inch. That is just right. You're not stealing too much because you do want a big pocket. Okay, but if you want a big pocket, make a bigger one, bigger album, bigger cover. So first measurement we need when we make the pockets. Let me see if I can get a pocket for you. Let's see if I can get a pocket for you. Okay, let me see if I can. Our pockets are boxes, right? So your box has the top part. It will have one side, two sides, even this side here. This will be the opening. Okay, when we shove our papers in or our tags in. And then of course we need a side that will stick onto our base. Okay, this side that sticks onto our base only needs to be about 2 centimeters. It doesn't need to be that big. 2 centimeters is, hold up, hold on. How much is that? It's 1/2 inch plus 1/4 of an inch, so that 3/4 of an inch. There we go, 3/4 of an inch. It doesn't need to be larger than that. All right, so let's do. So we will need to make one measurement of the let's say the 2 centimeters plus. How much is our hinge here? How much did we say we would do it? 1.3. Our hinge is 2.5 centimeters, so half of that. 1.3 plus 1.3. Oh, that's too much. Hold on. Let's make it 1.2. We still got wiggly room in there. So 1.2 centimeters. All right. So half of whatever your spine is over here on this side. Let's just take a few little measurements out of that one and give it a little bit of wiggly room, and that will be your height of your box. Okay, so let's go. It was the 1.2 centimeters plus that's my the part we're sticking down on our base, 1.2 centimeters, and sorry, not 1.2 centimeters. Sorry. That's our height. So the little flap we are using to stick down on our base is 2 centimeters plus 1.2 centimeters, which is our height, and then of course all of this, and then again 1.2 and 2 centimeters. So all that 1.2 plus 2 centimeters. Okay, let's see how much that will be. If I am going to leave that 1 centimeter out, I'll be doing 1 centimeter away from our score line and 1 centimeter away from the chipboard. So that will leave me 13 centimeters. So 13, that's what I'm putting there. Okay, so let's do it. So the first score line will be the 2 centimeters. That's what we're sticking down. The second score line will be 1 centimeter, 1.2 centimeters. 1.2, and that'll be the 13 centimeters from that score line. So 13 centimeters from that score line. It'll be our top part, okay. And then again 1.2, and then from that score line 2 centimeters. Okay, let me do these markings bigger so that you can see on the camera. Okay, so hope you can see this. So you'll get it when we start sticking it down. So 2 centimeters, that's what part where we're gluing down on our base. The score lines, okay, that's the height of our box. From this part here all the way to this part is the front of our box, the top part. Another score line. Okay, these are all score lines. That will be our height again of the box. And we are cutting here. This is the part we are gluing down. Alright. So let me just cut the excess off. Okay, so that's this part. Now we still need to do the bottom part. The bottom part also needs to have that height and the place where we need to stick it down. So it's exactly the same thing. We're just doing it on one side and not on the side. So we're measuring the 2 centimeters, which is the flap we need to stick down on our page. And then from that, it's 1.2 centimeters. Exactly the same to do our height. Okay. Oh, wait a minute. I don't want a box so big. I don't want a big box so big. Hold on. So ignore what I've just said. Bring your paper down. Okay, and just see how tall you want your box, how much you want it to be on the page. I don't want to be so much on the page, but I think half of this one would be great. This one wasn't even half, it was less than half. Okay, like that tall. Keep this part open so they can have half of the page, half of my book page inside and half of it out. So it doesn't need to fill up the whole page. So maybe there, and that's where I will mark it, and I will mark it right on the edge of this page. And I'm just really eyeballing this. So that was my mark there. Alright, can you see that? So from that, I will be measuring the height of my box, which is 1.5. Sorry, not 1.5, 1.2. And from that, I will be measuring the 2 centimeters, which is the flap I will have to glue it on. So I will cut off the excess. Okay, so that's basically it. So I have 2 centimeters, 1.2, 13 centimeters, which is the top of my box. Again, the hinge, or the not the hinge, the score lines of 1.2 centimeters, which is the height of my box, and 2 centimeters, which is the part I'm gluing on. And this one here will have score lines going all across at 2 centimeters here and 1.2 here. So I'll be scoring those quickly. I'll just align my markings on one of the numbers. Because I measured in mine in centimeters and my score pal is in inches. So I just wriggle it around until it lines up with one of the lines. And turn it and then do these lines. Okay, so I don't know if you'll catch that on camera. Can I catch that on camera? Well, you can see these lines down here. Okay, let's see if you see the side ones. Can you see that? I can't see that. Well, you can see those over there. There we go. And then those over there. Very faint lines. And let me do them again. These aren't going to fold nicely. Okay, let's see. That's much better. There we go. You can see all 4 of them. All 4 of them? No, 3 of them. 1, 2, 3 sets of score lines. Okay. So now, next thing we must do is cut some excesses off. So let me see if you can you see that? Oh, I need all 4 of them there. Where are they? I had them there. Up. Can you see that? You can see that, right? So what we do is just cut so you can see. And I'll explain. Okay. So what we do is we have a score line here and we have a score line there. You cut all the way to where these 2 meet over here. Score line here, score line here, score line, score line. So you cut all the way there in V shape. Okay, don't cut along the line or in a straight line. We're not cutting. I didn't cut along this line here. I'd cut slightly up, and I didn't cut along this line here. I cut slightly to the like a V shape. Okay, and that's it. And we will do exactly the same thing on this side. So it will look like that. And then all we need to do is just fold them in on the first score line and then our second score line. You'll see it coming together right now. First score line, second score line, and first score line, second score line. And there we go, there's our box. Okay, that'll be the top part, and that's what it'll look like beneath. That's what we are going to glue down on our base. Okay. And that acrylic. Now, if you want, you can. If you have like a nice punch, you can punch a circular, half circle punch. You can do something. You can even do these type of punches over here. I will leave mine simple, just for so don't waste time on this video. Right. Sorry about the noise. So that's my page. So there we go. Then that will be right there. Okay, right on the other edge of my page. And I will be using double-sided tape for this one. And, of course, tacky glue. So, I'll just open it up because it's much easier to stick it on here. That's too thin. I'll never get out of here. Get a thicker one. So, I'll just stick it in the middle, because then my tacky glue will go over the rest. Varnish that a little bit. Take out the backings of the double-sided glue, sticky tape, and now I put some of this, and this I'll put on all the area that doesn't have glue. Okay. You don't need that much. I keep repeating this, but I see a lot of people just oozing out their glue on the paper, and it just makes it all wobbly and humid and thing. You don't need that much. The glues are very strong nowadays, especially scrapbooking glues. So now what I do is, this one comes up last. Okay, this one. And I'll show you why in a moment. And stick that on there. Okay, stick the bottom flap, this one here, on top of those two. Okay, I'm going to get my hands full of glue now. There we go. Just make sure it's nice and nice and level here. Okay, make sure it's nice and level here. Glue out of my fingers. This is the part where you get very messy if you use, especially if you're using the tacky glues, the liquid glues. Okay, so that's that. Just make sure it's nice and flat all the way up. Sometimes it will open. And you just put that onto your page. Line it up, center it up. Have your eyes on that edge of the chipboard, and your score over here on the spine. There we go. I think that's stuck. Let me just get the glue out of my fingers. That came in a little bit. Let me just glue this down first. You can do what I'm doing now, because my sides here are really not collaborating. They are trying to, one goes too far in and one goes too far out. There we go, that's much better. Now I like putting a ruler inside. Get these out the way now. I like to get a ruler inside and help it stick. Just pressing it down with the ruler. Okay, especially on the sides. That looks alright. It's not 100% perfect. Not supposed to be. We're not machines. Okay, so I have that on my base now, and I still have all that room for another pocket. Okay, that's how it's supposed to be. Okay, still have room for another pocket. Okay, so that's one pocket done. And you can do as many sized pockets as you want. I will be posting these videos soon. If you really need me to do another pocket and show you, please tell me. Okay, and I will do the 4th tutorial with another pocket.